So good evening. My name is Don Ficken. I'm with the Library Telescope Task Force, and we're once again excited to bring you a Library Telescope program. And joining me tonight is Tom Lynch. He's the co-leader, I guess, of our library group, task force group, and Mark Jones with the St. Louis Astronomical Society. We have a great program tonight. This will be about the 2023 and 2024 solar eclipses. And so this is something that libraries really should be thinking about. So what I'd like to do is just give you just a quick background. So the Library Telescope program has been in operation since at least 2008. We actually have several countries, I think 6 countries now, that we know of that are participating in the program. We have something like 900 outlets. We're actually heading up to closer to 1,000. I think we've registered some more today. And so we're very excited. You go to our website, librarytelescope.org, you can actually look up a clickable map of whatever country that you're in, if it's highlighted, and you can drill down to the state or province and see who's actually participating. Tom Lynch has been working this Facebook page for quite a long time. He's got us over 5,000 followers, so that is a really great area it's all things astronomy, not just Library Telescope, but a lot of stuff, everything from fun cartoons to current events. People post on there quite often, so we really encourage you to take a look at that page. And of course, our librarytelescope.org website has the world map that I talked about, but has also a lot of resources for patrons, for libraries to learn about the Library Telescope program and also to get involved. So we're all a volunteer group that's doing this. We work with multiple clubs throughout the world, and so we're very excited to be part of that. On that website, one of our members is with the Astronomical League, and he shares each month a map of the night sky, both in English and Spanish. If you can't get a Spanish version of a planisphere, if you will, this is a really good thing to go to our website homepage, and you can download that. It's absolutely free of charge, and it'll highlight for the current months and things that are really important to take a look. And so just take a look at that page, and we keep you, I think, the current month and the prior month. And so I encourage you to take a look at that. We've been doing these programs. Actually, tonight, as I was preparing for tonight, I tallied up, and this is our 30th program we've been doing. We've been doing 30 webinars, so almost heading into 3 years now. The webinars that we do are all over the place. We have some about patrons who want to use the telescope, libraries who want to launch the telescope, how to maintain the telescope, how to observe the moon, just lots of different kinds of things. So we encourage you to check out our resource library. If you go to librarytelescope.org and hit the YouTube link, you'll go to our library with just lots of different webinars. These are all recorded. And of course, facebook.com, Tom's got, these will always be on our Facebook page because we obviously live stream it there. So you can actually watch a lot of different videos over time, and there's a lot of different fun things you can do. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mark Jones, who's going to talk about the 2023 and 2024 solar eclipses. We will be taking questions. If you post it into the comments area of Facebook or into the chat area or the Q&A area, rather, of Zoom, we'll be trying to address those questions at the end. So again, this is roughly a 30-minute program overall, but we encourage you to just enjoy the show here, and I'm going to turn it over to Mark and let him do his thing. So I've known Mark, by the way, for a long time, and he's got a lot of experience around eclipses, and I think you're going to have this is going to be a fun night for you.
All right. Thank you, Don. First of all, can you see my screen? Okay, very good. Yeah, so we're here tonight to talk about solar eclipses, and particularly those two that are coming up later on in 2023 and the one in April of 2024, and how libraries can participate in these solar eclipses. Or solar eclipses have been around forever, as long as man's been around, and man has been fascinated. Humans have been fascinated with eclipses since very early days, I'm sure. This particular photograph was taken from atop of a Indian mound on the Illinois side of the Mississippi River, looking at the skyline of St. Louis. This was taken back in October of 2014. So this Indian mound's probably 1,000 years old, and here we are sitting on top of it watching a solar eclipse that may not have been the first time that humans have done that. So let's get some details out of the way with the upcoming eclipses. There's one coming up October 14th, 2023. This will be on a Saturday, and it'll be from late morning to early afternoon, 10:30 to 1:30 in Central Daylight Time. The other one will be April 8th, 2024, and that'll be a Monday. And that'll be around right after lunchtime and go into the early afternoon. The two images you see on the screen here are representations or simulations of how much of the sun would be blocked by the moon as seen from the St. Louis area. And depending upon where you're looking from, you may see more or less of the sun being blocked. In the case of the 2023 eclipse, it's an annular eclipse. So if you're in the right area, the entire central zone of the sun will be blocked during the maximum phase. And the one in 2024 is a total eclipse. And once again, if you're in the right path, the sun surface will be 100% blocked for a period of time, allowing you to see the outer, the corona and inner chromosphere. Now, we always have to make solar eclipse safety our first priority. And this is a photograph that I found online that is supposedly a telescope that had been looking at the sun, either on purpose or accidentally, and collected so much sunlight that it started a fire. And the fire not only melted the telescope, but it also damaged the deck on the back side of the house. So we have to remember that the sun is a very intense light source, and whenever we focus that light, it's very dangerous to our eyes, to our skin, and as it turns out, to our possessions. So in the library telescope program, depending upon which area of the country you're in, we have, of course, the library telescope like you see here on the left. And on the right, some of the libraries have also adopted the binocular program as well. Neither one of these instruments is safe for viewing the sun. In fact, there are stickers on the side of the telescope saying, never look at the sun. So we want to downplay any usage of the telescopes or binoculars on the day of the eclipse. It's just too dangerous. From our club's perspective, we really recommend that these library telescopes and the binoculars not be used for any solar observing or for any solar eclipses. In fact, in the St. Louis area, we recommend that all of our libraries withdraw the binoculars and telescopes from patron circulation prior to the upcoming eclipse. So if that's something that's logistically doable, we certainly recommend that. That helps prevent unauthorized use of it during an eclipse. And then once the eclipse is over, then of course they can be returned to circulation. Now, when possible, always try to partner with a local astronomy club that has special solar viewing equipment, because there is safe equipment out there that can be used, but the expertise normally lies in your local astronomy club. And whether you're an astronomer or not, if you are using a telescope, please never leave that unattended when you're viewing the sun or an eclipse. And you should never, in my mind, you should never use reflecting telescopes, because they have an additional danger that light can reflect up and out of the tube, and somebody could inadvertently view the sun through the end of the tube. And of course, with children, as always, please supervise the children during all solar observing. Now, we want you to seek expert safety advice, and here are some links for NASA, the American Astronomical Society, the National Safety Council, and the American Association of Ophthalmology. All have website information related to solar eclipse viewing and safety. So please look that information over. Now, the good news is that the American Astronomical Society has started up a program called Solar Eclipse Activities for Libraries, called the SEAL program. And there's a link here. And their mission is to provide libraries around the country with free eclipse classes, supporting information and training related to the eclipse events. And down the bottom right-hand corner, I took a snapshot of the information I got off the website. So far, they've held 27 workshops. They've shipped over 3 million glasses so far, and they've got more than 6,200 libraries that are now registered into this program. So if you go onto this website, you'll see something like this, and you'll see the map of the United States and all of the registered libraries around the country. And hopefully you can join and become part of that group. Here's the path for the October 2023 eclipse. If you're inside of this path, this is where you'll have a central eclipse and where the complete center of the sun will be blocked. And then in April 2024, if you're in this path running from Texas up through New England, if you're in that area, you'll see a total solar eclipse. Anybody outside of those two zones, you'll see what's called a partial phase. And you must always use solar protection when you're in a partial phase or in an annular phase. Now, if you go out to this website that I provide the links for and click on some of these buttons, you can register for eclipse classes. So this is what you'll see when you go to their website. You can register for upcoming training, very valuable for library staff. You can join an eclipse community where you can share ideas and ask questions and things like that. You can find out about activities. And so by clicking on this link, you can find out a lot of activities that you can perform on the day of the eclipse or even leading up to the day of the eclipse. There's other resources available. And by clicking on this button here on the web page, you can access those. And they even have an eclipse booklet where you can read more about the upcoming eclipse, and you can download that information. There's a lot of information on there related to projecting a solar image, and that's one of the safest ways you can view the sun safely without direct viewing. And that's, you can hold a pinhole. I'm going to go through that in just a few minutes. But there's these links here will direct you to some of those activities and viewing techniques that you can build and construct your own solar viewers. Here's some additional materials that are available on that same web page. And here are some of the snapshots from some of those web pages and some of those activities. Each activity has a tool list, a materials list, gives you an idea of what you need in order to perform each one of those activities, and so on. It gives you very detailed instructions. Here's some additional activities: ring of light and the eclipse to scale activity. Finally, you can, through StarNet, and a lot of libraries are familiar with StarNet, they can go to this particular page and download this PDF file and get information on creating your own eclipse viewer. And here's some additional information that's available through StarNet as well. And then for those of you who are handing out glasses to your patrons, you can actually have them make a little protective case so that they can save their glasses and use those not only for the 2023 eclipse, but save them and protect them for the 2024 eclipse. Now, as I mentioned, the first eclipse coming up is in October 14th of this year. And this slide here shows, once again, the maximum phase of the eclipse as seen from St. Louis. And it also shows the path, which the path of annularity, as it's called, where if you're in this path here, you'll see what's called a central eclipse. Still not safe to view with your unaided eye. You still need to use eclipse glasses for that. So a little bit of information related to St. Louis. When is eclipse, the 2023 eclipse, when is visible in St. Louis? Well, between 10:30 in the morning, at which time the sun will be about 34 degrees above the southeastern horizon. So make sure whenever you're planning your events, make sure you know where trees and buildings are to where you set up. Make sure you know where the sun will be at the time of the eclipse so you don't have an obstruction in the way. Maximum eclipse occurs around 11:56 a.m. with about 54% of the sun being covered, and the eclipse ends around 1:26 p.m. and the sun is almost due south, about 42 degrees above the horizon. So make sure you have an unobstructed location when you view the eclipse. Now, can you safely view the eclipse? We've talked about we've had a slide showing expert links, but remember only to use safe methods. Use special eclipse glasses or pinhole projection for viewing the eclipse. Never use unsafe methods, even though it's very tempting. Sunglasses, mylar balloons, sun filters that you put on windows, smoke glass, X-ray film, CDs, things like that have all been used, have all been tried, and those are just not safe. So make sure that you only use safe viewing filters. Now, can you safely photograph the eclipse? Yes, you can. There's ways to do either still or video photography. So this is a way to protect your eyes, but you also want to protect your camera. You don't want to damage your camera either. But there are special filters that can be used for photographing the sun. And you can get information on that from your local library, your camera shop, or online about how to do still or video photography of eclipses. Here are some links to the October 14th eclipse coming up. These are great links that if you go to them, in most cases, will give you a Google map or some high resolution map that will allow you to actually look at your street address and see exactly when the eclipse starts for you, when it ends, what is the maximum phase of the eclipse. All these sites are free and provide very good information. Same information, same sites also have information for the 2024 total solar eclipse. As I mentioned, unsafe methods, please, I'm going to re-emphasize this just because I've seen it done too many times. None of these types of things are safe for viewing the sun during an eclipse or even when the sun is not being eclipsed. And I've added a special one down here at the bottom. Eclipse glasses and telescopes together. Please don't try to use the eclipse glasses coupled onto a telescope, particularly at the eyepiece end of the telescope. That is absolutely not safe, and you could damage your eyes doing that. Now, indirect methods where you're looking at a projection is by far the safest and simplest way to do it. Plus, multiple people can look at it at one time. So pinhole projection, telescope projection, or viewing through a video camera are ways you can do indirect viewing or direct viewing with solar glasses, eclipse glasses, or telescopes and binoculars with approved filters. And this is where you need to contact your local astronomy club and have them help you with things like that. Make sure you order early. Solar filters and that come in high demand the closer we get to the day of the eclipse, and get much harder to find and get shipped. So make sure you order your filters and your glasses early, and also make sure that you order them, from a reputable source. Make sure there's the American Astronomical Society has a list of approved vendors, approved sources. Try to use one of those whenever you order your eclipse glasses. Now, solar glasses are by far the most popular. As we said before, make sure they're certified and from a reputable manufacture, because these are specially designed for use with eyes. It can be removed during the total phase of the eclipse. So in April of 2024, during that eclipse, if you happen to be in that narrow band running from Texas to New England, during the totality, you'll be able to actually remove the glasses and view the totally eclipsed sun with just your unaided eye. In any case, get these glasses. You can create all kinds of masks. Children love to personalize their eclipse glasses. This can actually add some safety factor to the glasses themselves. Let them be creative, but check out their work. Make sure that they haven't compromised the glasses in any way. As I mentioned earlier, make sure you buy the glasses from a reputable source. We noticed in 2017 that the marketplace was flooded with some counterfeit glasses. Even though they were marked with all the requirements, they were not by a reputable supplier, and therefore were very suspect. This is why you need to make sure that you order directly from an approved manufacturer. Now, pinhole projectors, we've all heard of those, and in a lot of cases, we actually used those when we were younger in school. And the pinhole works on what's called a diffraction effect. And you just create a small pinhole into a piece of cardboard or a piece of aluminum foil, and you can project the image of the sun onto a piece of paper or a piece of cardboard. Normally, that distance between the pinhole and the surface where you're projecting the image of the sun needs to have a ratio of about 1,000 to 1 to 1,500 to 1 in order to get what's called a sharp image of the sun. So as you can see in this photograph here, this gentleman has made a very long tube. In order to get that, he's got a pinhole up at this end and the projected image at the bottom end, and that's probably about a 1,500 to 1 ratio between the two. Don't really recommend using a shoebox. We all used, I think, shoeboxes when we were kids, but you either have to create a very tiny pinhole, or you just won't get a nice image of the sun. It's better to have a longer box. I try to make a box at least 3 feet long. You can use wrapping paper, long wrapping paper tubes, or you can build your own tube in order to get the 3 feet distance. Now, you can also be creative and use other utensils. You can use a colander, which has holes in it, and you can actually create your own little pinholes that way. You can take a piece of paper and make your own little pin pricks in the piece of paper to make your own designs. And so this is another creative way for people to engage during the day of the solar eclipse. You can make your own little personalized pinhole projector. Nature can also act as a pinhole projector, and the leaves and the trees, sunlight will pass through the gaps between the leaves and the trees and create little pinholes, and little images of the solar crescent will appear on the ground or on a piece of paper. So you can use that approach as well. Now, a different way to do it is to, rather than use a pinhole, a transmissive pinhole, you can use what's called a mirror. And by placing a mirror at a large distance away from a surface, you can project a large image of the solar crescent on the side of a building, for example. That way, many students or many patrons can view the solar crescent at one time. And that's a completely safe way of doing it. You cannot harm your eyes either by looking at this image or by looking at the reflected, if the light gets reflected off the mirror. But once again, you need to have this ratio between 1,000 to 1,500 range in order to get a clear image to show up. So in this case, this mirror was placed about 250 feet away from the side of a building. And of course, we picked the shady side of a building. And then we projected an image of the sun about 2 feet in diameter. Now, there are commercial solar projection systems. Here are 2 of them that are available. One is kind of a paper product that's less expensive, somewhere in the $100 to $250 range. And then there's a wood, more durable version, and these can run up to $500, excuse me, in price for these. They project a nice image of the sun and can be used for the eclipse or anytime you want to do solar viewing. Now, another way you've probably heard about is to project light through a telescope or a pair of binoculars. And I would recommend, once again, that you partner with a local astronomy club to use special solar viewing equipment. Damage because of the heat collected by the sun. You could damage your optics in either your telescope or in your binoculars. So I do not really recommend that we use telescopes or binoculars for solar projection, not only for protecting your eye, but also for protecting the telescopes. And as we said earlier, telescopes should never be left unattended. It should always be attended by a trained operator. Now, there are other things you can do. Night Sky Network has a yardstick demonstration on how you can demonstrate eclipses using a yardstick or a meter stick, and using a couple of styrofoam balls. You can create your own Earth-Moon system and create your own shadows. The shadow of the moon cast onto the surface of the Earth in this case. You can demonstrate that during the days leading up to the eclipse or the day of the eclipse. You can do this indoors or outdoors. Just if you do it indoors, you need to have a very bright light, like a flashlight, to cast a shadow. But this can be used for both solar eclipses and for lunar eclipses. You can turn this around and you can use the Earth to cause a shadow, and you can cause a shadow to occur on the moon, and that is a good representation of a lunar eclipse. So by buying these materials, you can use these for solar or lunar eclipses, and this link here will give you all the information you need on how to go about creating these yardstick eclipse models. If you have audiovisual people that are well versed in video or camera technology, you can use cell phones and other video cameras to image the eclipse. Here's one, for example, where a person took their cell phone and looked through an eclipse viewer and just could see the filtered image of the sun, the solar crescent, seen through the filter. So you could put a pair of eclipse glasses or eclipse viewer over your cell phone camera, for example, and you could use that safely. Here's another example of somebody using their eclipse glasses and a cell phone. And here's another one. Here's a photograph taken from a cell phone of the 2017 solar eclipses during totality with just a cell phone. So you can see a lot there, and you could project that then on a TV screen, a TV monitor, or a video projector to a larger audience if you wish. Please remember, if you are going to use solar filters with telescopes or with cameras, cell phones, etc., please make sure you tape or secure the filter tightly. Wind gusts tend to pick up during the time of eclipses because of the temperature gradient as the sunlight diminishes. So we tend to get winds picking up, and filters could easily blow off of the end of a camera or a telescope. This is why we don't want to leave things unattended. If you have finder telescopes on your telescopes, please cover those or remove them. Don't use any open tube telescopes, reflectors that have solid tubes, or reflectors that have what's called a truss type tube. Can be quite dangerous, so please don't use those types. Reflectors, we talked about that earlier. We don't want people looking down the open end of a reflector. So this is best left to the experts. Contact your local astronomy club for people that know how to do that safely. Please don't let anyone place their eye or hand in between an eyepiece and the projection screen if you are doing solar projection. And don't leave your scope unattended. So these are safety tips not only for you, but for the members of the astronomy groups that may be helping you. And this once again a final word on our safety. Never look through a telescope without proper filtration. Use filters that are only from reputable sources. Do not assume that if you have a filter, if the sun looks dark through the filter, that it is still safe for your eye. We have to worry about invisible light from the infrared and the UV part of the spectrum. And that is invisible to your eye, but can still cause eye damage. So please don't make that assumption. Always make sure you know that what you're using are approved solar eclipse filters. Always inspect your filters before you use them, in case and discard them if they're punctured or torn in any way. We don't want to use damaged filters. Always supervise children. And if you wear eyeglasses normally, keep them on so you have a nice sharp image of the sun. And that very quickly is the information that I have. So Don, I'll turn it back over to you and we can see if.
Yeah, very good. Thanks, Mark. So I just sent you a message. You want to take a look at that, and I'll take a look at the messages in here in Facebook and Zoom to see what we have. You can respond back to what that message was I just sent you, Mark.
The one about posting a link to the PDF?
Yeah, are you okay with that?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
I'll send you a revised PDF.
A revised PDF?
Yeah.
Okay, because I have one right now. Okay, I can do that.
I made a couple of additions since the one I sent you.
Okay, that's great. So, Mark, we had one person who said she came in late, and she asked if you could show the pass of the eclipse once again, if you don't mind.
Sure. We'll go back to this map here of the United States. So this path here is the annular eclipse. This is where the center part of the sun will be blocked, but not the complete edge of the sun. In fact, if you look at my screen behind my head here, if you can see my face here on the Zoom, you can see what's called an annular eclipse from 2012. So this path in October, if you're in this path anywhere between Oregon to Texas, you'll be in that path of what's called annularity. And then the other one is the total eclipse in April of 2024. And that runs from Texas up through New England.
Okay, do you see any other any questions there, Tom, at all? Let's see if we got.
No, you caught it. I didn't see any others. I would like to raise one point. Not just library personnel looking at this. Perhaps amateur astronomers are. And if you're interested in doing presentations on the eclipse, you might want to consider reaching out to the Eclipse Ambassador Program, which is being run by the Society of the Pacific. If you just Google Eclipse Ambassadors, there's training that you can get for doing presentations and such. So it's a resource that's out there, but it's intended more for amateur astronomers than for someone who's not familiar already.
So libraries, I think this is a great chance, not just on the day of the eclipse itself, but also it's a great chance to educate the public, to explain to them through presentations of what to expect. And on the day of, obviously, you can't move your library, but you could certainly have at least a partial eclipse party. And if you happen to be lucky, you can have a total eclipse party or even an annular eclipse party. So it's a great chance to bring the public into what they consider a safe spot where they feel like people there are probably going to know what they're going to do. And the libraries arrange for them to be there. And I know in the Metro St. Louis area, it was very popular. Libraries had really a lot of fun giving out glasses and doing programs for really months. We had full houses of people literally listening to what was going to happen with the eclipse. So, all right, well, Mark, I appreciate your presentation. Thank you so much. So Mark, you'll send me the updated PDF, and I can actually link that. It'll be librarytelescope.org/solar eclipse. If you just type that in when we get here in a short time, and I'll update the PDF, and that'll bring up Mark's PDF with all these links. I know there's a lot of links in here that you can click on them. And Mark, once again, appreciate that. This will be a lot of fun. It's a great chance. I know it sounds like they come around a lot for a lot of areas that just had one in 2017, and they're not really rare. It just happens to be where you are, they're rare. They don't happen very often in a particular location. So the media will be picking up on this pretty soon, and libraries need to be ready and patrons need to be ready. So Tom, thanks for your help tonight. Mark, thanks for the great presentation. And we will plan. I think we don't have our topic yet set for next month, but we're working on that. And so watch Facebook for our upcoming program date and time and the topic. And also you can check our website, librarytelescope.org. This will be recorded. This has been recorded and will be out there on our Facebook page or the YouTube page tomorrow sometime. Just check our librarytelescope.org. Click the YouTube link, and it'll be out there probably by late tomorrow. Have a great evening, everyone. Thanks a lot, and enjoy yourself.